Why, hello everyone, and welcome to the Truly Odd Podcast, where we bring you the latest in game news and movie news. I am your host, Joe Garcia. So grab your controllers, get your popcorn, and let's dive right on in. Now we have a lot of game news to cover today with the Nintendo Direct, Dreamhaven Showcase coming out. But first, let's look at our first topic of the day. Looks like Warner Brothers Games has canceled an unannounced Hogwarts Legacy project. Now, according to this report by IGN, this project was canceled due to the price point that they were going to sell this DLC for and the content of the DLC. So it looks like that they're going to be selling the price point probably at a high $40 or so, but the content within the DLC was not enough to justify the price point. And lately, Warner Brothers has been doing a really big change over there at their game studio because, they haven't done really good for the past couple years money wise. So they're doing a lot of restructuring over there. So they have canceled this unannounced DLC project, which I think is a good idea. And the reason I think this is a good idea, even though we get less content for a great game, is because if they release a DLC at a ridiculous price point, no one's going to buy it and they're going to waste a lot of money on it. I think they need to get to a point where they're very successful and they're doing so well that they need to do what Santa Monica Studios did, was release DLC for free. And I think Hogwarts Legacy did really well for them, so I'm very surprised that they're not going to at least release this DLC at some point. Who knows, maybe it'll be content for the next Hogwarts Legacy games that they're having coming out, which I believe that they are currently working on. But who knows what's going to be happening in the long run with the studio, because there is so much going on with the back end and how they're going to be restructuring their whole organization. And there's a lot of restructuring going on in a lot of the video game industry as of late, and that's due to the massive layoffs and not as many studios making as much money as they usually do. Which kind of leads us into our next story. Ubisoft creates a new subsidiary. So this new subsidiary that they're creating doesn't have a name as of yet, but it's going to be handling their three major franchises. That'd be Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, and the Rainbow Six franchise. This comes to us from Game Informer, which, if you guys haven't heard, Game Informer is back, so I highly recommend you guys check them out. But Ubisoft announced that Tencent was investing 1.6 billion euros, which is 1.25 billion US dollars, for a minority stake in their newest created subsidiary, which will be working on these three main franchises. And this is a very interesting choice because I know for a fact that this studio recently, I think back in January, was it this year? I think it was this year or in 2024. Can't really remember. They laid off over 200 people and they really readjusted a lot of their different structures. They closed down some studios. I think they closed down the studio that did the Prince of Persia Last Crown game, which was, I think, recently released like in the last year or two. And I think that also some similar with the Star Wars Outlaws game, that didn't do quite well for them as well. And I think their live service game, what's it called, X Defiant, I think, is also probably poised to be shut down this year sometime, probably around June or July, that I have right here in my notes. So yeah, there's just a lot going on with Ubisoft currently. So it's interesting that they are making a subsidiary. I also believe that they were set to delist themselves as a publicly shared company and go back to being a privately shared company. But I think Tencent's investment helped them organize this in a way where they can do that. And I think this may be a good move. It's an interesting move, that's for sure. But I think it might be a good move for Ubisoft to have a subsidiary that focuses on their main franchise, what's their main hub, their main sources of income with these three main franchises. And hopefully with that, they can have the time and the resources to make their new or IPs or focus on newer stuff that the studio is interested in making and reorganize their structure while they're not really losing content for their game itself, if that makes sense. They have a studio that can really focus on what to do for these games creations while they just restructure and things of that sort. But yeah, it's just very interesting what's going on with the game industry. Warner Brothers can't release DLC because that's crazily priced for the consumer, and Ubisoft has to make a new subsidiary just to focus on their main franchise game because they need to restructure their organization with all these layoffs and studio shutdowns. And if they keep this up, eventually they're going to have to shut down this new subsidiary. So, just a lot of very, very interesting things going on in the world of the video game industry currently. But that being said, there are also some things being introduced, and that leads us into our next topic. Dreamhaven Showcase was presented by the Game Awards the other day, and they have announced 4 games. I don't know if they're necessarily new. I haven't heard of them until I saw this video. I will have a link to the YouTube showcase in the description down below, but I also have it linked to a Game Informer article breaking down the showcase for you guys. So it looks like that the 4 games that they announced are Sunderfolk, which is launching on April 23rd. There's a demo available now on GeForce, and this game looks very interesting. I like the concept of being able to have like a couch co-op thing with people utilizing their phone in an application so they could play the game through their phones and everyone could participate in the household. So this is a game I'm definitely going to check out. I know that there was a game on the PS5. I can't remember what it's called, but you're able to link up your phones and play games, do some quizzes and make some funny drawings. And that game's a lot of fun when you have about 8 people in your house and you want just everyone to be able to play a game and enjoy themselves, especially if everyone's gamers or enjoys, puzzles or stuff like that. So this is a very interesting thing, and it looks like a fun, interesting game to me. I'm probably going to be checking it out, not until it's released on like a console though, because that's mainly what we use on our TV here in the living room at my house. So yeah, I think that'd be nice, something to play with my brother and my girlfriend at the same time, so we can all chill and enjoy content. But let me know what you guys think of Sunderfolk. The next game that they announced is Lynked Banner of Sparks, which is launching on May 22nd. This looked pretty interesting. Nothing major that captured my attention. Probably something that I really won't be checking out, but you guys might be interested in. The next game that they announced is Mechabellum, I believe it's called. Right now it has a premium edition that's out now, so you can purchase, but they're going to have a play for free from April 4th to April 8th. Now this one looks interesting. They have like a 2v2 war kind of game. It looks like a turn-based where you're able to control mechs and attack strategically into other bases and other encampments for this mechanized future, people controlling bots and ships and that sort. So that looks like a lot of fun. I look like the free for all situation would kind of be hectic because I think that's 4 people playing against each other. So that looked very interesting as well. Just very interesting games that Dreamhaven seems to be working on. Now, these all come from different studios, but I believe they're all part of Dreamhaven, so it's just very interesting what they have going on. And their big announcement, which was WildGate. It's you can sign up now for a playtest that's going to take place on April 10th, so if you're interested in playtesting the game, you go ahead and use the description I have down below. It has a link to the article where they will link you to the website to sign up for the playtest. Anyways, this game looks very interesting. It's almost like a pirate game in space. Looks like you're playing against 4 to 5 other people in ships. You can board each other's ships and try to destroy them while they try to refuel, re-up the shields to their ship, and you're fighting to take hold of an object and then get it through one of the warp gates that's there present on the map. And this looks very interesting. You can sabotage people's gameplay and just do a lot of cool and fun things. Now, this isn't really a game for me, and I like campaign style games, so games like this don't very much interest me, but I would not say no to giving it a shot and checking it out once it is available. We'll just have to see what ends up happening. This, for me, seems like more of a free-to-play game, the way that they have showcased it so far. I don't think there'd be a reason for me to purchase this game on my own accord because I prefer playing, campaign-style games myself. But let me know what you guys think. Were any of these 4 games interesting to you? Are you interested in checking them out? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. On to our next topic. Nintendo recently did the Nintendo Direct. If you've never heard of this, it's basically their PlayStation Showcase, where they show the new games that are coming out, new technologies, new things that are coming out. And before I jump into the games, which will be our final topic of the day, because it's quite a list of games that they have announced for this, I want to talk about some of the other announcements that they set during this Nintendo Direct showcase. And the first one is they are going to have a Nintendo Switch 2 Nintendo Direct coming on April 2nd. So it's like in a couple of days or in about a week, we're gonna have a Nintendo Switch 2 showcase, and a lot of people are assuming, and it is rumored, that that's when the pre-orders for the Nintendo Switch 2 will be taking place during this Nintendo Direct. We'll have to wait and see what ends up happening with that, but I find it very interesting because they've also announced a couple other new things coming to Nintendo, and one of the things I find most interesting is their virtual game card. So if you don't know what this is, Nintendo has a game card in which you could purchase when you buy any game, and they're introducing a virtual version of this. So it's basically you're able to cast, not necessarily cast, but you're able to download a virtual game card onto two consoles. So if, for example, me and my girlfriend have Switches and we both want to be playing a Mario game, or we will want to be playing a certain game, I can download the virtual game card onto her console, and when she's done, she could download it onto my console so we can both play. Now, they didn't say anything about playing it at the same time. I can't imagine that you'd be able to. It'd probably cause some issues with that. But one thing you can do, you can lend out a virtual game card for about 2 weeks. Now, I think this is only for people that are going to be listed under your family for the Nintendo. They have currently, like, you can list a family members and get certain benefits and certain downloads and things like that. And it looks like they're going to be an addition for this virtual game card. If my brother has a Switch and he wants to play one of the games that I'm currently playing, I can lend it to him for 2 weeks so he can play it on his own. And if it's something that he really liked within those 2 weeks, he could probably purchase it on his own without any issues and stuff like that. So I find this very interesting. I think it's a great concept, and I'm hoping that this concept takes, to other consoles like the PlayStation and the Xbox. I think this would be very beneficial for the game because we are leaning towards more digital gaming with the crazy amount of downloading that's being needed for the games. So hopefully this will be something that they introduce and is very popular for Nintendo so we can get it on other consoles, but we'll have to wait and see. Oh, by the way, they said that this is going to be coming, the virtual game card will be coming in late April 2025. So we'll see what happens there. And I'll probably be checking it out when it's released on my Nintendo just so I can experiment with it and check out how it functions and give you guys some more details once we get that going. They also announced Nintendo Today. So if you want, they said later today you can download this application. It's basically a calendar which gives you information on the daily basis of new Nintendo announcements, new trivia for games or new information and things like that. And when the Nintendo 2 is coming out, I'm sure that they'll give us details on specs and new information regarding Nintendo, its games, and other things as daily content for this calendar-based application, which is really cool, especially if you're very much into the Nintendo ecosphere. Something you can definitely check out and enjoy for yourself. So yeah, those are some of their side announcements for the Nintendo Direct. Now on to the final topic of the day. We're going to be doing the Nintendo Direct game announcements. Now, a lot of these games don't very much interest me. And I think that's just because, I'm a very particular gamer. I'm sure some people don't like campaign linear stories like I do, and they prefer, the Sims-like games. Everyone has their own different taste in the art and the entertainment that they like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to list off the name of games and then go back and discuss the ones that interested me the most, which I think are currently like 4 different games that interest me. So, starting off, we have Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake. We have No Sleep for, forgive me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, guys, but No Sleep for comma name data from AI Somnium Files. Forgive me, guys, I'm probably butchering that very badly, but, it's very hard to pronounce some of these words when they're spelt this way. Moving on, they have Radio Remastered, The Mystery of Soulless Armies. We have Shadow Labyrinth. We have Patapon 1 and 2 replay. We got the story of a season Grand's Bazaar. We have Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. We got Disney Villains Cursed Cafe. There's Witchbrook. There's the Internal Life of Goldman. There's Graduous Origins. There is Rift of the Necrodancer. Sorry, Rift of the Necrodancer. My apologies. Tamagotchi Plaza. Pokemon Legends ZA. Rhythm Haven Groove. High on Life. Star Overdrive. The Wandering Village. King of Meat. Lewis Lounge. Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time. Saga Frontier 2 Remastered. Monument Village 2, and Monument Village 3. Everybody Golf's Hot Shots. Marvel Cosmic Invasion. And last but certainly not least, Tomodachi's Life, Living the Dream. So yeah, we've got a lot of games here, guys, to go through. It's basically A through Z, so 27 games that they've announced. And I'm going to be focusing on the 4 that interest me the most, starting with the most interesting one, in my opinion, which is Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I haven't played a Metroid Prime game in quite some time, so this is looking very interesting. And I'm surprised that they didn't really show this one for more of a Switch 2 thing. But we'll have to see, end up waiting to see what they do. I'm really liking some of the new features that they introduced for the character, as far as their, I think, telepathic abilities and things of that sort, if I'm remembering that correctly. And yeah, that just looks very interesting to me. The next game that's very interesting is the Pokemon Legends ZA. And for me, this is very interesting. I'm liking their leveling system, that they're starting you off at Z and you have to work your way up through A. I also like their day and night cycles being 2 different type of gameplays and game styles. Introducing like a tournament based for nighttime, and more of a exploratory based during the day. So that looks like it's going to be entertaining. Now, I never got a chance to check out the Pokemon Legends game that they had originally. I do have it. I just never opened the case for whatever reason. I got busy. So I purchased it and just never got to it. So this is going to be a game I am going to have to check out eventually. I'll probably check out the first one so I could see how it plays, and then go ahead and check out the next one once I have the time. And moving on to the next one that interests me, The Eternal Life of Goldman. Now, this game, I like platformers like this. It looks very interesting and entertaining and a lot of fun. I'm liking some of the gameplay aspects as far as puzzles making, upgrading the character staff so he can use magical abilities to, freeze time, to leap at certain heights. And it just looks super interesting the way that they have developed this game. And the last but certainly not least, Shadow Labyrinth looks quite interesting. Now, I was very confused when I first saw it because they showed the character turn into Pac-Man. And I thought, that's a Pac-Man rip-off. And I saw that they had the audio for Pac-Man and things like that. But at the end of the video that they showed, they mentioned Pac-Man. So I'm assuming they have the licensing, or this is just one of the Pac-Man games, which I find very interesting. That you can, turn into Pac-Man, use his abilities, fuse with Pac-Man, and make a cool little mecha. And it's another platformer game. So yeah, those are the 4 games out of all these ones that interest me the most. A lot of the other ones are some remakes and some replays that they're reintroducing to the game. I know some of them were from the Nintendo DS and things of that sort. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I know this was a long listed video game section for today. There's a lot of news and a lot of things announced for the Nintendo Direct. But which games interest you guys the most? What games will you be checking out? And also stay tuned for the Nintendo Direct for the Switch 2 that will be happening in about a week's time. I will keep you guys posted on that. And moving on to our movie news topics of the day. Try to get through these a little quicker so we don't keep you guys a little too long. But we have an Aliens Earth clip. If I'll have everything in the description down below if you're interested in checking it out. Now, this trailer or this clip or this teaser, whatever you want to call it, looked very interesting. Some of the little beginnings parts looked like something from the show, and I'm loving the way it looks. It looks more like the original Aliens movies with, you know, the older technology that they used back then, the way that the filmmaking was done. I'm loving the suspense and how it looks just phenomenal, and it looks like that the aliens will be coming to Earth, and that's going to be very interesting to see. So yeah, I'm excited to check out this new Aliens Earth show coming, I think, this summer. But let me know what you guys think. Are you interested in Alien Earth? Will you be checking it out? Moving on to our next topic, a new Sinners trailer has dropped with the tickets being on sale now. So if you're interested in checking out the Sinners movie, I'll have a link to this new trailer down below, and the tickets are now on sale. If you're interested in checking it out, I highly recommend you pre-get your tickets. And yeah, this trailer looked very interesting. I've already been interested in this movie, so this trailer just upped my excitement a little more. You know, the director was the director of Creed and Black Panther, and he's done a phenomenal job with those movies. So I'm very excited to see what he's done next. He also directed Michael B. Jordan in another movie. I can't think of the name right now, but they've done great movies together. So I'm very excited to check this movie out and excited to see what happens with this story and these batch of characters. Moving on to topic number 3, it looks like the HBO Harry Potter series has found their Hagrid in Nick Frost. If you don't know who Nick Frost is, you will know him from Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and many other different things that he's done. He's the dumb one. He's the dumb one in Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, but I love him as an actor. I really think he can channel Robbie Coltrane. And if you don't know who Robbie Coltrane is, he's the original actor who played Hagrid. I really think he can channel his energy and bring his own staple to the character. He's funny in his own right, and he can do really good dramatic acting and stuff like that. I think he's a phenomenal performer, and we really haven't seen him do too much besides comedy, but I really think this is a great choice for Hagrid. Now, I think the contract hasn't been signed or anything as of yet. This report is just saying that he's in negotiations at the moment, but I think this is a great get for Hagrid. I think he's going to do phenomenal with the role. And if you haven't seen him in Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, I highly recommend you guys go check that out and look at his performances there to see the type of comedy and the type of actor he is. I think he does phenomenal work there. But let me know what you guys think. Are you excited to see Nick Frost as our new Hagrid? Moving on to topic number 4. Now, I want you guys to remember this one. This next one here is a rumor, but it is rumored that Chad Stahelski from John Wick directing fame will be directing the new Blade movie. Now, I want you to take this all with a grain of salt because I'm going to pull this up right now. Chad Stahelski's IMDb is currently packed. If you don't know what IMDb is, it's basically the website that gives you actors, directors, previous projects, upcoming projects, and everything in between, basically. Now, his directing efforts, hold on, let me pull up his directing efforts here. He has directed, just so you know, he's directed John Wick 1, 2, 3, and 4. So he's great with action, and if you love the John Wick franchise, I'm sure you're very, very excited to check out what he will be doing with his other projects, including Highlander. He's going to be doing a Highlander remake. He's set to direct a Ghost of Tsushima movie. He's set to direct a Vice City movie. He's set to direct a Rainbow Six movie. Now, mind you, just because these are listed for his upcoming directing efforts doesn't mean that he's necessarily going to be doing them in a proper schedule, and doesn't necessarily mean that they're actually going to happen. A lot of things have to, take place. But I think the closest one to being done or being worked on is the Highlander one, followed by the Ghost of Tsushima one. So he's a bit busy, so I don't think he really has the time to be directing a Blade movie. But let's just say that this is true for a second, and let me know what you guys think. If the director of the John Wick franchise takes over and starts directing a Blade movie, I think this is a great choice if this is true. I really hope he brings the action and the clout he brings to the John Wick franchise, to the Blade movies. I think that would be phenomenal. And so, yeah, I feel he would be a great choice as director for a Blade movie. However, sadly, I don't think this is true. And, I think this is just another rumor out there, people hoping and wishing. And I really, really like this rumor. I hope it is true, and I hope that they are in talks. And, I know sometimes studios do crazy things like steal directors from them and then pay for them to wait or find a different director. It all varies, especially when there's contracts involved and stuff like that. But we end up seeing what happens with that in the long run. So yeah, Chad Stahelski to possibly helm Blade would be phenomenal. Moving on to our last topic of the day, guys. Looks like Legend of Zelda live action film has set its release date for March 26, 2027. Now, if you have not heard, yes, there is a Legend of Zelda film in the works. It is being helmed by Wes Ball. If you don't know who Wes Ball is, he is the director of the Maze Runner movies, and he also directed the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which came out last year, and I think he's a great director. He surprisingly did well, in my opinion, with the Maze Runner movies. Now, those movies weren't necessarily the best, but he did what he could with them. He ended up making a decent franchise out of these Maze Runner movies. And I think he did a phenomenal job with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I think that movie was really good, and I'm happy that he put in a lot of work. So seeing what he brought to those two franchises, I'm happy that he's going to be helming the new Legend of Zelda movie. And I'm happy we have a release date, which means that we're definitely moving into the fast paces of pre-production. They probably have their script already, and they're probably going to be starting casting within the next couple months or so, if they don't already have their Link and their Zelda already. So yeah, we'll see what ends up happening with this. But are you guys excited for a Zelda live action remake? Were you hoping there'd be a different director, or do you like what Wes Ball brings to the table? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Truly Odd Podcast. So thank you all for joining me. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. And until then, remember, stay true, be odd.